say Shabbat Shalom, you're saying peaceful rest.
Yeah, peace on the Sabbath day. Peace and rest, because you got Shalom is, you know, they're saying peace, and when you deal with the Shabbat is rest. You can't have rest without peace. Rest and peace is like, you know, it's like a double plus, you know, type thing. It's like when people says when they say, you know, saying I'm gonna go pick up some fishes, you know, it's like you it's already plural, but we go ahead and put some more stuff on it, because when you talk about that rest, when he speaks about that Sabbath, he says they will not enter into my rest. He doesn't say Sabbath. Right. See, he's talking about the Sabbath. So it's certain things that, you know, you'll begin to pick up. The more and more you spend time with Yahweh's word, you'll start to pick up. We're going to Romans 11, and we're going to start at verse 13.
Just to touch on what you're saying about the peace and rest, you think about it, when you're sleeping, it's supposed to be a peaceful time, but if you have a bad dream or whatever, people will say, I was restless.
Right.
You know, so just to add to...
Oh, yeah, to add to the understanding of that. Thank you for that, brother, because, you know, even when they say a man passed away, they say, may he rest in peace. May he... And the reason that there's going to be a Sabbath of 1,000 years, a millennium kingdom, a sabbatical kingdom. That's what the name of the kingdom is called. When the Messiah returns, a sabbatical kingdom. And now you understand why the people won't mention that. Because if you keep hearing the word sabbatical kingdom, you're going to be like, what do you mean sabbatical?
They use that term
kingdom.
when they put you on a sabbatical.
Right. Right.
Away from your
right. And that's what this whole thing, but if you start hearing certain words, you'll start to, ask a few questions. So certain words will be taken out of the worship function, because as you start to hear those things, you'll start to ask questions, and people don't want you to ask questions about those certain things. So we're going to basically read about how we got into this thing. We're going to go to Romans 11 and verse 13 and read about this wild olive tree. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify mine office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead. For if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches, but if you boast, you bear not the root, but the root bear you. Now, we know that the Gentiles were grafted into Israel's tree. When you're talking about the olive tree, understand that the olive tree, that Israel was commanded to constantly offer up that olive oil, pure beaten olive oil, constantly, that the light never went out. See, the light, the olive oil is the fuel that keeps that light burning. So you can't run out of oil. So it was very symbolic when you talk about the foolish virgins who ran out of oil, they ran out of spirit, which would not fuel their lamps, so they couldn't truly be the light of Yahweh because they didn't have enough spirit. They didn't have enough spirit to make it to the darkness. So this being grafted into the tree supplies the lamp constantly so that it's always oil to keep that light going. Remember, now Yahshua says, I am that light. Verse 19, you will say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off. And you stand by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not you. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Elohim. This is what people don't want to deal with. Behold, therefore, the goodness, this is all they want to deal with. But the next part says, and severity of Elohim. They don't want to deal with the severity of Elohim. They say, God is love. And they stop right there. They never deal with the rest of that. He's much more than that. You are belittling my Elohim if you say he is love. He says, I am that I am. Whatever that is, I'm that. So how you going to tell me he's just love? That's all he is? No, he's much better than that. He's much bigger than that. On them which fail, severity, but toward you, goodness, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise, you also shall be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for Elohim is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted, contrary to nature, into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? So we know that Israel was cut off for a time, but people want to tell you that Israel has been totally cut off. Verse 25, for I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And we know that that was the time that the Gentiles were given to rule. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. For the gifts and the calling of Elohim are without repentance. For as you in times past have not believed Elohim, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. Even so have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. For Elohim have concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 14. Now, when it says it was written for those Gentiles to not boast themselves against us in that olive tree. Well, let's look and see if that's what happened here. So we're talking about man had to keep a Sabbath. The land had to keep a Sabbath. And we're starting to see, it says that if the land does not keep a Sabbath, then the land would spew you out of it. So now when we consider the earth as Yahweh's land, when it does not is not allowed to keep its Sabbath, when it's not allowed to rest, then we have a situation whereby the earth, being that land, is beginning to now spew men up out of it. So, matter of fact, it is written that it was the land of Israel that kicked us out of it. The land kicked us out of it because of how we treated the land. All right? So, Nehemiah 13 and verse 14 through 22. 14 through 22. Now remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my Elohim and for the offices thereof. Anywhere in this book, I can't find anywhere where he said Yahweh told him to do this. The same thing that was said with Yahshua, it says, for the zeal of Yahweh's house had eaten him up. He wanted those works to be done so perfect that he constantly fought with people. Now, of course, they call him a mean heretic brother. He wanted this thing to be done according to how it was written. And if you do those things in a place where righteousness does not abound, they're going to throw you out the same way they threw Yahshua out, same way they took Saul to the edge of the cliff, the same things. But the zeal of Yahweh's house had eaten him up. Verse 15. Now, the subtitle here says the Sabbath rest restored. In those days saw I in Yehuda some treading wine presses on the Sabbath day, and bringing in sheaves and lading asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Yehuda and in Jerusalem. So it's bad enough that they're doing it, but then they're going to do it in the holy place. Verse 17, then I contended with the nobles of Judah. Contended with who? Right. So we see that the people of power were doing these things. So this always makes it very difficult for a servant when Yahweh puts you on this level. But the people you have to contend with that are not dealing in his word, right, are the people on this level. They're actually above you. And you have to then say things to them. This is always difficult. But this is the situation that Yahweh puts you in to see if you're going to serve him. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, you look at you said that point on the nobles, this supply and demand. If everybody else is not selling on the Sabbath because they keep the law, but then these nobles have a certain area you can go to in the holy city and you can buy on that day, you would make way more money because you could raise your price, you do everything because all you have to wait till tomorrow to buy something. But if you need something today, you can go get it there.
And who was, and even if, the nobles themselves didn't do it, if they allow it, they get a little kickback too, the things you don't really see. See, that's what them private meetings all about. See, that's the meetings you ain't invited to. See, you don't get to go back in the back of the back of the back. See, when they go back in the back, they start breaking bread, that other kind of bread. Right. That's when everybody get appreciate you for letting me, do this evil. And then the other guy was, I appreciate you for letting me do my evil. And everybody get to, break off a little piece of the change that they done made in their evil dealings. Verse 17, then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that you do and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus? And did not our Elohim bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet you bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. So they saying this is why the evil is happening to us. The evil happened unto us because of how evil we have treated the Sabbath day. Do you think the people of the earth are looking at the Sabbath day right now with all of the stuff that's going on? I guarantee you this is not coming to their mind. They are saying, Mother Nature has done us wrong. Right. Verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kinds of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. So he going to shut the gate, and then they're just going to stand by the gate now. So they're just going to stand by it and wait. Verse 21, then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge you about the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. Now, so we see that Yahweh has soldiers about his business. This, they want to say, people have a tendency to only read certain scriptures. So you be like, okay, you have to be peaceful and blah, blah, blah. This brother said right here, look at man. If you lodge about this wall one more time, I'm trying to tell you, I'm going to have to do the business to you. Now, you can take it or leave it, platter to weave it, but it is what it is. If I catch you about this wall on this Sabbath day, I'm going to do something to you. That's what made the people go. Sometimes, man, people ain't going to do righteousness because you talk to them. Sometimes you got to take care of that business. Yahweh let things slide until now. So now Yahweh is starting to bring these things upon man. This is supposed to lead man to righteousness. But as we read before, all the plagues happen, but man still won't repent of his evil deeds. So Yahweh gives you a probationary period. See, he bringing the little things. See, it says about that other earthquake, it was so great that there was none like it. What you think these little ones are for? The 8.9 is little.